Do we really need to stress and struggle and hurry to make 2022 great? Or can we enter in a new way that actually allows us to dream in and cultivate the outcomes we want from a place of trust and flow and ease? Welcome to another episode of It's Her Turn. I'm your host, Dr. Kate Dow. So glad to be here with you today. We are on the precipice of the new year, and this really is our time to make some new decisions. Decisions on what is no longer serving us, decisions on how do we really find our happiness or place of contentment or compassion and peace in our hearts. So I'm proposing that what if we want to learn how to come into relationship and perspective of the goddess Gaia? Now, who is that? Well, Gaia was one of the original primordial elemental goddesses in the Greek mythology that was the original form birthed from chaos. She then went on to birth humanity, in a sense, and Mother Earth, and her representation is her as the goddess of the Mother Earth, one and the same. She's a fully figured woman, mother energy, and her body is literally inseparable from Mother Earth. She is one and the same. And her qualities are this wisdom of earth and nature and the cycles of life and the incredible awareness of that interconnection of all things. So we contrast that to our patriarchal father's perspective that really comes from a desperate fear of death and fear of loss of control, we could say, fear of, all the stuff that's messy and scary, like emotions and um, life ever changing and relationships and sexuality and death and all of that. And it's a curious view that I've had recently reinforced a few times over in the last year, that this is perhaps a very true picture of the psyche of the fathers of the patriarchy. A desire to feel a sense of certainty in the face of uncertainty. And boy, we can relate to that right now, can't we? After all these months of intense impact of this COVID virus rotating around the universe of our world. So, from that patriarchal perspective, our sense of happiness and contentment comes from controlling and manipulating life and stopping cycles from happening, right? We think about the birth control pill, just stop those cycles. And we want to control the weather. We want it to be how we want it to be. And how that's flourished into this crazy, disconnected view of life. That it's about material consumerism, it's about making enough money as if money makes us happy. If that was true, our world would be very different. The top 10%, 1% would be incredibly happy people. This world would be functioning, and its goals of humanity would be very different. So, power, control, greed, um, oppression of the feminine, which is messy and dark and full of change and unpredictable and so connected with the cycles, right? So that feminine has had to be stifled and oppressed and repressed and taken out. Well, it pretty much worked because look where we are. You know, we're at this time where we are on the precipice of life. And it is scary and it is natural to want to grasp onto what feels safe. And we've been trained to think that's things, money, control, right? We all have that so deeply in our psyche and everywhere around us. It's the message, you know. So, of course, we're going to naturally lean towards that. But we also have had an experience of the last 18 months of this life stopping and not being the same and not being predictable. And what have people done? People have begun to explore and experience, wow, we're home. Wow, I don't have to work away from everybody. I can be with my family. I can take care of myself better. I can realize how much I needed this time to connect with people. And for those people who are more isolated, like myself, you know, it helped you see, oh, I want to stay more connected with my relationships in whatever way I can, or my children, or what feels meaningful to me. You know, we all got brought down into the root of our survival and our sense of what makes us feel alive and what matters and what connects us to our sense of our own life soul journey, we could say. People are awakening all over the planet. I need to heal this trauma. I need to step fully into who I want to be. I need to leave this unhealthy relationship. I'm not going to tolerate this totally misogynistic, controlling, unhealthy work environment. We've all had our different openings and epiphanies, myself included. So, where we are now is how do we stay conscious about what we choose? Because in the face of fear, right, our lower brain will always run to the old patriarchal stories. It will go to what we've known since we were born, grab on to that sense of control versus, do we really have control? Isn't life happening? Doesn't nature happen without anyone, quote unquote, controlling it? Doesn't it continue to evolve and flow in this impulse of life, unfolding and growing and evolving? This is Gaia. This is Gaia that is the feminine aspect that I'm bringing to the table to say she's our guide here. How do we trust and drop in and reconnect again and again, even in the face of fear of the new year? And instead of grabbing onto fear, we keep our hands open to love, to compassion for ourselves and everyone else in this journey with us, for Mother Earth. And we tend to the soul garden, right? We really tend to this idea of how do we reconnect deeper and more with this feminine wisdom that right now Gaia is representing for us. This feminine guidance back into some balance for both men and women and all of the planet. Because the poor masculine has been completely distorted and unhealthy for everyone. And it too needs that balancing, right? In each of us, we all have this feminine masculine side. So, how do we do this? How do we let go of that desire to grasp and fear in that separation and that sense of it's all up to me? I got to make it happen this year. Versus, oh, I'm already connected to everything. And if I can soothe my nervous system, stay connected in my focus and awareness of love and compassion, let's say, stay connected and rooted to Earth, to Mother Earth, and to our bodies, right? Then how might that help us keep opening again and again to our own presence and our own connection with our lives, with the people we love, and the earth, so that we can remember, if I were to trust and embody the nature of my body's wisdom, my feminine wisdom, as the earth does, I could listen, I could trust that flow and know that what is going to come, I can show up, I can do my part, right? I do the things that are meaningful to me. I see where I'd like to be of service in my business. Or if you're taking care of your family, how can I do that in a way that helps me hold on to myself and be more sustainable, more connected in myself, so I can do that with that sustainability, with that love, with that consciousness that I so dearly want to bring. So whatever it is, whether it's your business or a relationship or your health, how do we come into relationship with our life from this place of Gaia perspective? Everything is unfolding. The more we actually trust and relax into, we can hear those impulses of action and creativity. We can listen for them and trust the timing of things. And we can have an intention, right? If my health is struggling, I can have this intention that my health is priority. And I want to grow, I want to evolve how I show up for my health. And then from there, I can do this dance of trusting and flowing, right? Which involves listening, time of the feminine yin, time of trusting our masculine yang, right? This is the flow. I'm kind of waving my hands right now, naturally, into this infinity symbol, sort of that wave of flow between the natural cycle of the yin and then the moving into the yang, and how this happens without our knowing. Our body does it all day long, right? With our breath, moving from the right to left nostril, supporting our nervous system, supporting our right and left sides of the body and all of the meridians. That's with the breath, and the body has its own digestive systems and electromagnetic systems and all the flows within our body. They're doing this naturally, as is nature, as is the world around us, although we can't always see it because we're busy seeing the concretized control of nature, right? And the hurry, get in your car and drive and go work hard and then come home exhausted. And we're stuck in our perception of we got to make it happen. So we put on new glasses with the lenses of Gaia and we practice again and again. That's exhausting, that patriarchal pair of glasses. I'm going to put on my Gaia glasses. I like that. And in my Gaia glasses, I can see this interconnection. I can see this flow, this natural flow that is always happening. I can come into more awareness in my body and around me. Lately even though it's been very cold, I've been like, I have to get outside and go walk. I was going to the gym a lot and I loved it, but I was like, I'm missing that outside time. So let's talk about how do we connect. And for me, it literally can happen going and sitting with a tree, just being near a tree. Because growing up in LA, that was how I did it naturally as a kid. I also was on the beach as a baby, so I think I had a lot of entrainment there with the sand and the ocean. So I'm able to track and connect with nature through the birds that I see flying by, with the skies and the clouds. But for you, if this is new, you might need to start with, let me practice just feeling into my body, or let me go to a beautiful place in nature that I love. And it could be a park nearby. It could be maybe a little more of a hike into an area. But it can even be as simple as sitting with a houseplant, because there's a field that comes with nature. And when we allow ourselves to come into our own body presence and then into open awareness for connection with that field of the natural world, our body does automatically start to entrain, right? It's known as earthing. You can go and take your shoes off and stand on the earth, and the body and the earth literally exchange in their field. It is a way of releasing tension and toxic energy that helps our whole body and immune system reset and come back into coherence. It supports our mood. It supports our sense of ability to interact more, connecting socially. It supports our literal immune system when we do earthing. And you can even do it without taking your shoes off. And you can even do it if you're still in an apartment building in New York City on the 10th floor. What you need to do is really intend to connect all the way down with the earth. And of course, it's a little easier when you're actually on the earth. So maybe go over to Central Park. But it is possible, because the mind, as well as the brain mind, the heart mind, the gut mind, they're very capable of this through imagery as well. But for now, let's imagine we're going to physically do it. So there's not really have tos. It's trusting your own intuition. allowing yourself to what I call kind of root and ground into your own body, and then root and ground down into the earth with your breath, with your awareness. And then you can just sit or walk. Like I love to walk. So I walk and I connect with all of the natural world around me. And it can completely rejuvenate my energy. It can reset my thinking mind. My emotional body settles down and I can process emotions. Um, and spiritually, I just feel like it opens me right up through my crown chakra to the divine. So I get sort of that divine as well as, root connection through that central channel. So there's no one right way. You can't get it wrong. Let's put it that way. Any way that you imagine you love to connect with nature, that's your way into finding your Gaia classes. So for me, like, what is your favorite? For me, water is one, but I can, like, right now, there's less water available right where I live, but I've got the trees, I've got the sky, I've got the birds, and I connect with that as well as, the earth beneath me. But if you love mountains or you love beaches, then allow that to be your place to explore. Having this view of your Gaia glasses, see how everything happens without having to make it happen. See how the flower isn't trying to be enough, it just is. See how the birds do what they need to do without having to make a goal or a plan. They just do it. See how the sky doesn't have to control where the clouds are. It trusts where they are, when they're there, and there's a synchronicity and a co-compatibility between the clouds and the sky. I don't think they're arguing about it. There's no power plays going on. Even in, I just had it pop up like, well, what about when a tiger's chasing a deer, Well, that's part of the flow too. And that's a part as humans we can really resist. Like, well, but there's death. Yes, there is. There is. And that is a natural part of the flow too. We just have been taught to be afraid of it, to deny it, to push it away. And therefore we've lost our relationship with it. But if we can go to nature, we can see, the trees teach us. They let go of all their leaves. They go into that hibernation. They come back in spring. They don't worry. They just wait for the timing of the cycle when their leaves will come back. Or maybe not. Maybe it's time for that tree to die. And how they trust that and flow into that and become part of the earth again, and perhaps later become a new tree. So these cycles of life, the trust and flow of time, space, that doesn't really exist in many ways. Just energy. It's all energy and it's flowing and it has its own intention. We can have our sense of what we're focusing on, like I was going back to with the health. I want to focus on my health. Great. Make it a blessing. Make it a devotion that you're going to work on your health. Don't make it a, oh, let's make this hard, and you have to do this, and you have to do this, and I just hate this part, then guess what? We're living in trying to force it, to control it, and it's already shifted into something unhealthy. Then I love myself. I want to feel healthy. I want to take care of my body better. I want to come into relationship with how I can do that better. How can I lovingly help myself get more sleep? How can I lovingly help myself eat better? How can I lovingly reduce my stress that's affecting my health? How can I lovingly start to eat things that I kind of resisted before? Can I do that lovingly? That's the question. That's what Gaia glasses would ask of us, I believe. How do we do this lovingly? What would that look like to walk into the new year with your Gaia glasses on and do it lovingly, devotionally? To me, that is the essence of feminine wisdom, what I call fearless feminine wisdom. The opportunity to come into contact and embody this feminine experience that has been missing for about 5,000 years, and reclaim it and explore it and embody it to find your version that works for you. That's my invitation for the new year. So, connecting with nature, wondering what feels meaningful, perhaps making an intention, having a little ceremony around that intention, and how you can find those Gaia glasses that help you come into flow, into trust with life and what it is you want to create and manifest. And how do you do that from a place of ease and listening for the natural impulses of that flow, the yin, time to be within and time to step out and take action. This is the beauty. This is what we were created from, this flow of the masculine and feminine. And we get to come back into connection with that, really listening. And Gaia she really is the embodiment of what that harmony of that flow of the feminine masculine is. Even though she's representing as the feminine goddess, she really is, she's the holder of both, like what that harmony looks like. I feel like she's a great symbol for perhaps the new earth, the new consciousness, the new paradigm we're hoping for, Yeah. So I'd love to hear if you have any questions, what this was like for you. Was it, helpful? You can always show up on my podcast page at Dr. Kate Dow on Facebook, or you can find me through my website, katedow.com. And know that this is very much what we're working on in my Facebook group called Fearless Feminine Wisdom, which you're welcome to come and join. And I'm doing a little more work to get my page called Spiritual Awakening of the Sacred Feminine happening a little more regularly. So I'm creating some nice posts to be a little more inviting. I haven't been as alive on that page. So, yes, here we are. Sending you lots of support and love and acknowledgement. This year has been full of so much beauty and challenge and great moments of appreciation and perhaps great moments of loss. And I hold space and hold prayers and blessings for you around that, because it is not an easy time. And Wyatt, I feel it is so critical for us to do this work. So feel free to leave me a review if this is speaking to you, and I look forward to seeing you again. And remember, it's your turn to find your voice, own your truth, and claim your power. Namaste.